I'm Officer Azanai, and my reader is
Also, Lemuel.
yeah. Thank you, Officer Lemuel. And today's class is going to be called undiagnosed anxiety. Officer Lemuel, thank you for just making this class even a lot better. Because right now, this brother was late. Y'all don't understand what we got to go through. This brother was damn near late, and he caused anxiety within me. So this class is a class about healing, right? Because that's very, very, very important. This brother came in here 9:50, and like we got to start at 10 o'clock on the dot, because we don't like being late, Israel. So all praise to the Most High. But real talk, anxiety is something that's very, very important, and that's something that it's undiagnosed within the Black community, right? It's not something that's being talked about. Or shoot, I didn't even know that I didn't know I had anxiety until, funny little story here, right? I actually went to the doctor. The reason why I went to the doctor is mainly because, I had too much caffeine. That was basically it. And I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna have a heart attack, y'all. I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. So I went to the doctor, and pretty much they told me it was nothing. That was the first time. Second time I went to the doctor, and the doctor came in, he checked me, he said, "Oh, your vitals are good. You're good. You're in, perfect health," or whatever it may be. And then this Jake dude walks in. He walks in, sliding his little thing, trying to get my information, trying to make me to pay, right? And he he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, maybe you have anxiety." I looked at him with such great offense. Such great offense. I'm like, "I'm Black. What do you mean I got anxiety? That's white people's problems." But then again, when he said that, I really had to examine what he was saying. So all praise to the Most High, the Lord allowed me to examine, and we're going to be talking about mental health today. All right, we're going to heal as I'm healing, okay? All of y'all got anxiety. You too, Officer Lemuel. If I'm in this, we all in this together, all right? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. Let's start off with that scripture because that's very important. Today's class is going to be called Undiagnosed Anxiety. All right, come on.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 23. Keep thy heart with all diligence.
Keep thy heart with all what?
With all diligence.
So God says we have to keep our heart with all diligence. Read.
For out of it are the issues of life.
So you see what God is saying? God is saying make sure that your mental health is right, because out of it shall do what?
Out of it are the issues of life.
So out of it are the issues of life. Your mind kind of dictates. Your mind is going to dictate what happens in life, whether you have a right mind or you have a wicked mind or you have a bad mind. Go to the next scripture. Let's go over here to Proverbs chapter 22 and let's read verse 5. Let's get that, because we're going to dive more on this issue.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 5.
Come on.
Thorns and snares are in the way of the froward. He that doeth keep his soul shall be far from them.
So you see what God says? Thorns and snares are in the path of the wicked. This is what God is saying. The path of the wicked. Why are they the wicked? Because their mind is not set on the laws of God. Their minds is not set on keeping the commandments. So you know what they're gonna have? They're gonna have a what you call it? They're gonna have a bad time in life. What do that mean? They're gonna go through a lot of hardships. But read that again.
Thorns and snares are in the way of the froward.
Meaning in whatever you do is not going to prosper. You're gonna be living a hard life because you're wicked, because the mind ain't right. Your mental health is not right. Read.
He that doeth keep his soul shall be far from him.
Meaning, but if you keeping the commandments, you ain't gotta worry about having a hard life. You're gonna have it a little bit easier in captivity, because we all know that we are in the midst of captivity. it's going to be a little bit easier. It's going to be a lot more easier for you to manage compared to some other people. Some other people, you're going to watch them, because the type of lifestyle that they're living, they want to be gangster. They're going to get shot at. They're going to be doing the shooting. They're going to be getting robbed. They're going to be getting stabbed. People all around them is like bodies dropping every single week. It's like, damn, the brother can't stay out of the funeral home. It's like he's going to the funeral home just like how he goes to the club. That's what that scripture goes into. Read that again.
Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 5.
Come on.
Thorns and snares are in the way of the froward. He that doeth keep his soul shall be far from them.
Meaning, if you're keeping the commandments, you're gonna be all right with God. You're gonna be able to sit there and you're gonna be able to have a better life. You're gonna be able to get into the kingdom of heaven. Give me that in Proverbs chapter 28, and let's read verse 26, because all of these things are very important, and that's what we need to learn. We need to learn how to get our mental health in order. We need to understand what we're going through. We can't go through life undiagnosed, as I was. I went through life 30-some years, never knew what anxiety was, thought it was white people's problems. Come to find out, lo and behold, boom, you have anxiety. We all do. We all do. So now let's read that.
Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 26. He that trusteth in his own heart is a fool.
Meaning, if you listen to yourself, you're a dummy. That Bishop Kanai says that all the time. I don't listen to myself. Bishop Kanai says that all the time. I don't listen to myself, because you could tell yourself 1,000 things. So now, hold on, let's precept that. Give me that in Sirach, Watchmen. You know what I'm talking about? Because sometimes, we need this. We need this.
Watchmen is like 7.
Yep, give me that. Sirach 42 and 11. Is it that? No, that's not it. Go ahead. Pull the scripture that you had.
Yes, sir.
All right. So my armor bearer.
It's a new Bible officer.
Yeah. Let's try Sirach 37. We appreciate you also. Let me supposed to have my back, bro. You causing anxiety within me. I don't think that's it. Yep, Sirach 37 and 14. That's it.
The book of Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 14.
Y'all help me out too, Israel, because you see what I'm dealing with. If y'all know the scripture and I quote it, y'all better put it out there. All right, come on.
The book of Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 14. For a man's mind is sometime want to tell him more than 7 watchmen.
So that's the reason why you don't listen to yourself. That's the reason why God calls you a fool, an idiot, because you could trick yourself into believing anything. We got people tricking themselves into believing that they identify as a camera. Yeah, I identify as a camera. I identify as a they, he, she, them. That's called spirit. You have spirit on you. We got people believing that they could marry themselves. Like, what's her name? Sade, I think. Was it Sade or Maya? One of those famous people, right? We could trick and tell ourselves whatever that we want to, as long as the lie feels and it sounds good. We will tell ourselves whatever we want to. So now go back to that Proverbs 22 and 26 real quick.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 28 and verse 26.
Thank you.
He that trusteth in his own heart is a fool.
God says, if you trust in your own heart, you are an idiot. Read.
He that trusteth in his own heart is a fool, but whoso walketh wisely, he shall be delivered.
So that's how do you walk wisely? meaning you got to stop listening to yourself. You got to listen to God. Give me that in Proverbs chapter 4 and read verse 7, because we're going to understand how we walk wisely, because this is detriment. This is what's going to help our mental health, because a lot of us, we just sit there and we think that, listen, I'm gonna be all right as long as I do my own thing. But mental health, perfect sound health from your mind, it comes from the Lord. God is allowing you through the scriptures to have perfect mental health. When you have that perfect mental health, meaning you're going to get the kingdom. If your mind is right, your body going to be right. Your actions going to be right. How you deal with brothers, how you deal with certain sisters is going to be right. You're not going to be triggered anymore, right? So now let's get that. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 7.
The book of Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 7.
Come on.
Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom.
So you see what God says? God says wisdom is the principal thing. So now what is wisdom? What is wisdom? Give me that in Sirach chapter 1 and let's read verse 26. Let's find out what that wisdom is, right? Because, we'll sit there and say it. Wisdom, wisdom. How do we get wisdom? Well, what do I do to get wisdom? God is going to make it very clear to you, okay?
The book of Sirach, chapter 1 and verse 26.
Come on.
If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments.
So you see what God says? If you want true wisdom, what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to do what?
Keep the commandments.
You're going to have to keep the commandments, because that's where wisdom is found. So now hold up. Pull up the definition for me of wisdom. Pull up the definition of wisdom, because we're still talking about anxiety and it's undiagnosed. So now you're going to have to share with everybody so that way they could be able to see what that means. All right. And remember to share this class with your mama, your friend, your auntie, your cousin, your sister. All right, wisdom. Read that.
Wisdom, the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. The quality of being wise.
So when we read this, we just read words, but these things are what God has sat there and he done. He has gained the experience, he has the knowledge, and he has good judgment when it comes to that. So now when God gives you the commandments, meaning it's packed with experience, so that way you don't have to experience the things, the negative aspects of you listening to yourself. I'm gonna say that again. Wisdom is having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. God has sat there and he went through all of, he gave you the experience, he gave you the knowledge, and he gave you the good judgment, because he don't want to see you suffer. He don't want to see you going through the things that you're going through. But us, nah, we're going to do it our way. Not Yah's way. We're going to do it my way. All right, you can stop sharing that real quick. So now let's go back to Proverbs chapter 4. Proverbs chapter 4, I believe it's verse 7, I believe. Proverbs 7. Proverbs 4 and 7.
Yes, sir. The book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 7.
Come on.
Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding.
So get understanding. So who did God give wisdom to? Give me that in Baruch chapter 3 and verse 36, because that's very important. Because we just read what wisdom is. Wisdom is experience, knowledge, and good judgment. By the definition, Esau, but it's on point. Why would God has to sit there and give us this wisdom? Why does God love us so much to give us experience? Why would God love us so much to give us good judgment? I wonder why. Give me that in Baruch chapter 3 and let's read verse 36. Come on.
The book of Baruch chapter 3 and verse 36.
Come on.
He hath found all the way of knowledge and have given it unto Jacob, his servant, and to Israel, his beloved.
Because why? We are beloved of God. God don't want to see us go through pain. God don't want to see us go through suffering. God wants us to heal. He does not like us going down the deep end. Give me that in Ezekiel chapter 33, and I believe it's verse 11. Watch this. This is the reason why God gives you wisdom. This is the reason why God gave us the Bible, in order to apply, in order to keep the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. Come on.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 33 and verse 11.
Come on.
Say unto them, as I live, saith the Lord God, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked.
So you see what he said? He said he doesn't have pleasure in the death of the wicked. Meaning why? Why doesn't he have pleasure in the death of the wicked? Imagine the wicked. Now imagine the righteous. God says he doesn't have pleasure in the death of the wicked. Because you know why? Because we are family. We're flesh and blood. Nobody wants to see their son, strung out on drugs. Nobody want to see their son, homeless. Nobody want to see their son going through life suffering. Go back to Proverbs chapter 4 and let's read verse 7. Because we're still touching on this part right here. Because it's a lot to unpack within that one verse. Come on.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding.
So with all thy wisdom, you get understanding. So now how do we get understanding? Give me that in Psalms chapter 119 and let's read verse 104. Because we're still touching on this. Because in order for us to build our mental health, in order for us to get our minds right, the number one thing is we can't just listen to ourselves. We got to listen to wisdom, listen to God. And I'm showing us how to listen to God and stop listening to our own mind, right? Read.
Psalms chapter 119 and verse 104. Through thy precepts, I get understanding.
So this is how you get understanding. You get understanding through the precepts. So now what is a precept? Give me that in Hebrews chapter 9, I believe, and it's verse 19. Let's see how we get, because it says we get understanding through God's precept. So now what is a precept?
The book of Hebrews, chapter 9.
Come on, and verse 19.
Yes, sir. Hebrews, chapter 9 and verse 19. For when Moses has spoken every precept to all the people according to the law.
So a precept is the law. It all goes back to the Bible. Wisdom is God's laws when you keep it, and you get understanding when you constantly meditate day in and day out. That's the reason why we have daily bread in the morning, we have mid-morning medicine, and then the captains come in later on with giving the sense from A to Z. There's nonstop classes because we constantly need healing. And guess who's our worst enemy? We are our own worst enemy. But this is what wisdom help us do. Give me that in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and let's read verse 12. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 12.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 12. For wisdom is a defense. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it.
So you see what God says? God says that wisdom is the defense. Wisdom is what's going to protect you from your own self. Because why? Why do we need protecting from ourselves? Give me that in Psalm chapter 23. I know majority of us, we could quote this, though I walk through the shadow of the valley of death, we will fear no evil. And then we'll do the little high pitch pastor voice. We know it like the back of our hands. Some of us got Psalms 23 tatted on us with a little prayer hand, with a cross, with a bead and stuff. We did that through our ignorance, but we know some Psalms 23. But now, do we really understand what Psalms 23 is actually talking about, right? We're going to get into it just a little bit. We're not going to go full dive deep into it, but we're just going to break it down just slightly because we're trying to get to a point, because we're talking about anxiety. stuff that goes undiagnosed within the black community. And this is the heaviest thing, right? Give me that in Psalms 23.
Verse 1, sir.
Yep. Let's start from verse 1. We're going to read the whole chapter. All right, come on.
Psalms chapter 23 and verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. We all know that. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures, meaning he's going to give us peace. Right, read.
He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters.
That's that. He's bringing me to the green pastures that goes into the land, and then us being by the still waters is a calming effect. That's peace, right? Read.
He restoreth my soul.
Right there. We read that, but we go over that part. He restoreth my soul. So in order for God to restore your soul, what needs to happen first? You have to be broken. We are broken as a people. That's what we don't understand. We are broken as a people. Our mental health is not right. We have anxiety. We got things that's within us that's undiagnosed. We walk around to this day not understanding the type of feelings, or neither could we put the words behind it. We can't put words behind it. We just feel what we feel, and we think it's normal. Because why? Somebody said this quote: if you sit in ish too long, eventually it won't stink no more. Eventually you won't smell it. And that's us within the black community. We grew up this way. We grew up being the way that we been. We grew up having anxiety and not knowing, right? Go back. Let's continue reading that in Psalms 23.
Psalms chapter 23 and verse 3. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake.
So when he restores your soul, that means your soul had to be broken in the first place. We are broken as a people, but God says he's going to lead you back in the path of righteousness. Give me that precept of what righteousness is, because it all goes back to that. Even though we're broken, God is still going to put us back together. When you're broken, like, you ever seen a vase? Yes, I said vase. I'm fancy. But you ever seen like a vase or something like that? Or a plate, when it breaks into so many different pieces. You know how hard it is to put that thing together? If somebody could put it together, it's God. And that's us in our soul. That's us in our mind. We are broken to the point where we are unrecognizable as a people. But God has promised us. This is a promise that he's going to lead us back into righteousness. Now, give me a precept for righteousness real quick. You choose.
The book of Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 25. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God, as he commanded us.
So you see what God says? God says it's going to be righteousness when we keep the commandments of God. So righteousness is us keeping the commandments of God. Now let's go back to Psalms 23. Let's get some more on this right here, because this is very important, because we'll sit there, we'll quote Psalms chapter 23 and, get it tatted on us, but we don't actually know what God is actually promising us. We don't know. Because why? We're broken as a people. We think that, because we see this at camp all the time. People will walk up to the camp and they'll just stand there because the Bible is open, because deep down inside, we know that we're a broken people. We'll listen to it. And then eventually your partner in the hood, yo, come through. I got a 3-5. Come through. I got this. I got bunk. Bunk is weed laced with what is it again? Weed laced with powder. Yeah, that's a Miami term, if y'all didn't know. Bunk. All right, go back. Let's read that in Psalm chapter 23.
The book of Psalms chapter 23 and verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
So you see what God says? Read that other verse again.
Verse 3.
Oh, yeah.
Verse 3. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake.
He leadeth me through the law, through the Bible, right? Read.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Meaning the valley of the shadow of death. Give me that precept for the valley of the shadow of death. I believe it's Psalms 107, because we're going to find out what the valley of the shadow of death is. Remember, I'm just lightly going over this. Bishop has extendedly went over this. 190 minutes, I think, an hour or 50 minutes, and then he went over it like for 4 hours. I don't know how the hell you do that. That's some next level stuff. All praise to the Lord, right? So now give me that. Psalms 1. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Come on.
The book of Psalms, chapter 107 and verse 10. Such as sit in darkness, in the shadow of death, being bound in affliction and iron.
So you see what the shadow of death is? The shadow of death is slavery. So now we understand how we're being broken. How? Through slavery, through the process of slavery. We have been broken as a people to where we are unrecognizable. We have so much trauma, so much generational trauma, it doesn't even make sense. And on top of that, it still continues today. How does this continue today? Because why? Your environment, where you live at. Go back to Psalms 23 and let's continue this out. All right, come on.
Psalms chapter 23 and verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
So now what is thy rod? Thy rod, thy rod. Give me that in Proverbs 22 and 15, because God says thy rod and thy staff, that's what's going to comfort me. So now let's see what the rod is. What's the staff is, because he's promised us that he's going to lead us in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And gosh, I don't want to take too much time because that's pretty much half the class. We're going to have to speed this up. All right, come on, y'all.
Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 15. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him.
So the rod is making reference to correction. So now what is the staff? Give me that in Hebrews chapter 11 and 21. Because we got to get to this. We got to get to this real quick.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 11 and verse 21. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph and worshipped, leaning upon the top of his staff.
So you see what the staff is? The staff is like a guide, or it's like something that supports you. Because with this Bible, God is here to correct us, and God is there to support us in our time of need. Whenever we're going through those panic attacks, whenever we're going through the anxiety attacks, whenever we're going through the traumas, God is supposed to be there to heal us. Now, show the image of the rod and the staff, so that way we kind of get a better understanding, because we are a visual people, right? Remember that. Rod and staff. Yep. So this is what the rod and this is what the staff actually look like. You see what it says? Right there. That's the rod and the staff. You can stop sharing. One is shorter, and then the other one is used to with a hook to guide us. So now let's go. Psalms 23. Let's get it, because we gotta continue kind of touching on this class real quick. Come on. Psalms 23 and 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 23. You say start back at you want to start back at verse 1?
No, just continue where we was this at.
Yes, sir. Psalms, chapter 23 and verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
Table goes into the Bible. Read.
Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
So you don't see what God says, even though that we're broken, eventually God is going to bless us. We're going to have the kingdom of heaven. So now here's the number one question, right? That we got to ask ourselves. How did our soul get broken, or what caused anxiety in us? Let's start off with what we know best. Give me that in Deuteronomy chapter 28, and let's read verse 15. All right, so now we finally get into the nitty gritty. We have to get through all of that to show you that God's laws is the only thing that's going to help us. God's laws is the only thing that's going to change a broken soul into a quiet soul, into a peaceful soul, into a humble soul. Right? Let's do that. Deuteronomy 28 and 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So you see what God says, eventually, y'all ass ain't going to listen. He told Moses, eventually, y'all ain't going to be listening to what the hell I've been telling y'all to do. It shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, which is his Bible, right? Read.
To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So God says that y'all not going to listen to me, and I'm going to place curses on you. So now here's an easier way to say curse. Give me that in Jeremiah chapter 6, and let's read verse 19. This is the easier way for God to say curse, because I know sometimes when we at camp, we say, yeah, you're going to be cursed, but we don't actually understand the severity of that word, right? Come on, let's get it.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 6 and verse 19. Hear, O earth, behold, I will bring evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not hearkened unto my words.
So the same thing, because we didn't listen to God, God says evil, but in Deuteronomy chapter 28, it's curses. So God says, because y'all don't listen, I'm gonna bring evil within your life. I'm gonna make things so hard for you. I'm gonna make it so hard for you. And this is how God is gonna do it. And eventually it's gonna get so hard to the point that we have this. Deuteronomy 28 and jump down to verse 45.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee.
All these evils are going to come upon thee, and they're going to stick on you like glue, right? Read.
And overtake thee till thou be destroyed.
Until you're totally destroyed. That's Psalms chapter 23. We're broken right now. We're in a point of brokenness, and God has promised us that he's going to heal us. Read it again.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed.
Come on.
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee.
So now, is this going to happen for, just us? Continue reading.
Verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
All these evils going to be happening to you, to your kids, to your kids' kids, and it's going to keep passing down the line, and it's going to be called generational trauma. One generational trauma that we're going to be talking about is pretty much anxiety. Is anxiety. So now give me that in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 28, because we're talking about mental health here, right? God is going to expound more on that, and then I'll show you what anxiety actually is, through external sources. So just bear with me, y'all. It's a builder, but we know that we need God's laws in order to fix ourselves, right? Come on.
In Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 28.
The
Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
So you see what God says? God says, I'm gonna make your ass crazy. That's what madness is. You're gonna be crazy. You are gonna be crazy. So that's mental health right there. That's what God says. We are going to be suffering from mental health. And how would God make us crazy? How would God make us astonishment? How would God be like, okay, this is what astonishment is. When you're in the middle, like y'all ever seen, like whenever y'all driving and it be like some dude that's not there mentally, and he's running through the middle of the streets, about to get hit, yelling at people, smashing on, punching cars, doing whatever. That's the extreme version of it. But some of us, we have milder versions. Some of us are working trauma addicts. That's what we are. We are functional trauma addicts. I mean, we can go through our day, do regular stuff, and we still think that we're good. But we don't understand there's something that's still there. There's a residue of brokenness that's still there. But how would God do that? Give me that in verse 34.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 34. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes.
So you're going to go crazy because of the things that you see within your community. God is going to do it basically using us in our brokenness, and it's going to multiply through your generation, through your community, the things that you see with your eyes, to where it mentally breaks you, it snaps you, but you don't realize that you're being snapped. You just think this is exactly how it is. This is how I grew up. Compared to, other people, other nations, they grew up no trauma, little to no trauma at all, have everything that they can. And that's why sometimes we make fun of them. We sit there, we make fun of them because while we've been through so much trauma, we've been through so much heartache, we've been through so much pain, that the stuff that they go through, we wish that we could go through, because why? It's so much easier on them. But this is one thing that God is trying to create. He's trying to create tough men, tough people. Even though we broke the commandments of God, there's still a silver lining of it all. The silver lining is, with pain, whenever there's pain there, you could grow from the pain. Y'all ever heard the saying, no pain, no gain? We have to go through the pain in order for us to fully appreciate what God is about to give us, which is the kingdom of heaven. So now let's go back. What was my next scripture? Give me that in verse 16. So we're gonna see it within our environment. And how would our environment look like? How would it be? Right? Come on, read that in verse 16.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 16. Cursed shall thou be in the city.
We're gonna be cursed. Wherever we live at, there's gonna be evils that's there, evils that's present. There's always gonna be let me see. Let's pull up that video. Pull up that video about West Palm. I'm gonna show y'all a better description instead of me just explaining it. Pull up that video about West Palm. Let's share that real quick. Remember, you didn't share.
Oh, yes, sir.
Let's share that real quick. Let's show the screen. Because this is one thing that we're dealing with. Pull that up. Come on, let's hit play.
My nigga, all day, every day, nigga. Giving niggas the
Be mindful of the language.
Blues, nigga. Straight like that. Check it out.
Yeah. This is what it means to be cursed in the city. Why do you have to tote a gun? It's still rapping.
True killer. They got four plates.
Crack, gun, money, and this is what we're gonna be living at. This is our cities. This is what God means by cursed shall thou be in the city. Stop sharing it. Come on, we're gonna we stop. Just stop sharing it. This is 561 West Palm Beach, Florida. This is the type of conditions that we're gonna be living at, and guess what? It's very similar no matter where you go. So now let's see what anxiety is, because we got to the point, right? We got to the point. So now we got to actually see what anxiety is. Let's share that, and let's kind of figure out what anxiety is, because that video that we just saw, that's a cause of anxiety. When you understand what anxiety is, you're going to fully understand that. Damn, we're the people of God. Come on.
Disorder. Anxiety includes feeling uneasy, worried, and nervous with physical symptoms of stress. Anxiety is a very common and normal way people react to stress. While many people do not seek help for anxiety, it can be treated and help is available. Mental health professionals can treat anxiety using talk or behavior therapy, with or without medicine. Visit our YouTube page at American Psychiatric Association or our website, psychiatry.org, to learn more.
Let's play it again. Refresh
What
the
is
page.
anxiety?
Okay, there you go.
Who is affected by it? Do I have an anxiety disorder? Anxiety includes feeling uneasy,
Uneasy,
and nervous
worried,
with physical
nervousness,
symptoms of stress.
or physical
Anxiety
symptoms
is
of
a
stress.
very
Pause.
common
That's
and
all I
normal way.
needed. That's all I needed. Who's more stressed than black people? Who's more worried than black people? Who's more stressed about paying the bills more than white people? I mean, black people. I don't think you guys, no other nations understands our pain. No other nation understands our struggle because we broke the commandments of God. Who's more stressed than us? Who feels more uneasy than us? Sometimes, we'll play it off, but soon as somebody walks in the room that looks like us and he's dressed a certain type of way, like we showed you in that video, it creates anxiety in us. It creates a feeling of unease within us. If it creates a feeling of unease within us to where he looks like you, he got golds in his mouth, he has dreads, automatically you start thinking like, damn, I don't feel comfortable. He might have a gun. What if he robs somebody? Those are all the different things that pops up within your mind. Imagine that's us. Who's more come on, man. You can't tell me that this Bible's not talking about us. Go to the next video. Go to the next video. Go to the next video. The one about G Herbo. Yeah, let's pull that up. Let's pull that up. Yep, let's pull that up right there. Come on. Play.
7 years old. I just learned this year. I've lived in anxiety and depression my entire career. Right. Depression off of the shit that I've been through that shaped me into the man the way I think. I lived like that for years and years and years. I'm 27 years old. I just learned this year. I've lived in anxiety and depression my entire career. Right. Depression off of the shit that I've been through that shaped me into the man the way I think. I lived like that for years and years and years. I'm 27 years.
The stuff that he's saying is heavy. He says he's 27 years old and he just found out that he had anxiety. His neighborhood and everything that was around him shaped the type of man that he is today. Shaped the way that he thinks today. Shaped the way that he talks today. Shaped the way that he deals with certain people today. How much more us? Because remember, he's from our he's from our nation. He knows that his uncle knows that he's a Hebrew Israelite. He knows about the Israelites, but we are still under the curses of God and we're still under that trauma. We are still broken as a people. So now give me the next thing right here. Yep, let's pull that up. Anxiety and Black America. Let's pull that up. Share that screen because this is very important because we are dealing with something here and I don't think we truly realize what we're dealing with. Come on, pull that up. Scroll up all the way up. Let's read the title.
This is medical news today. What to know about anxiety in Black communities. Anxiety is among the most common mental health conditions, yet many Black people fear mental health stigma and avoid treatment.
So many Black people avoid treatment because you know why? We don't like going to the doctor. We don't want to know that something's wrong with us because we know, first of all, we can't pay for it because we're already stressed out because of the bills that we done had. Man, this is crazy. I got to speak on this because put the camera back on me. Put the camera back on me. Listen, y'all don't understand how real the trauma and how real the anxiety is when it comes to paying bills. I had a phone bill that was due that was somewhere around like, $100 some or whatever it may be. As soon as I paid it, they sent me another invoice right on the spot. I mean, as soon as I paid it, yeah, I feel good about doing this. You know, I'm being a man. I'm a man. I'm paying this. I'm paying that. As soon as I paid it, no more than a second later, you know how it gives you that thank you notice? Right under the thank you notice, my next billing and invoice that tells me that it's 30 days out. I'm like, yo, this is kind of crazy. That is crazy. And that's what causes the stress within us. Because a lot of people from the honors, this is the thing. A lot of people from the honors, they say they want to move to America, whatever it may be. They say they want to move to America, but they don't realize the type of stress, the type of trauma that comes with living here. Just basically just paying bills alone. Go back up. Let's just go back. But let's go back to the article because we got to continue playing this because we got to move a little bit faster. And that's on me, y'all. Come on.
Anxiety is among the most common mental health conditions, yet many Black people fear mental health stigma and avoid treatment. And those who seek care may encounter clinches who do not recognize the impact of racial trauma.
It's a white word. All right, causes. Come on.
Causes. Anxiety is a complex mental health issue with many triggers. Some causes across racial groups include early trauma or abuse, family history, including genetic and early environment.
So you see what it says, early trauma, abuse, mainly what causes anxiety. You've been touched by a man. It's unspoken in the Black community. Somebody has been touched by an uncle. Somebody has been touched by a cousin. And, you know, we deal with that trauma for so long. It's called anxiety. Anxiety to where whenever you see another Black man, you start to flinch. You feel uneasy. You feel uneasy about yourself. You don't feel right. You feel like something is about to happen to you. Somebody's about to grab you. Or vice versa for a man. You see another Black man. You say, and this is true. Check it out. This is true because when you travel and you go to different places, when you travel, you go to different states or you go to different countries, some things you just can't say. Like down here in Florida, I say, what's good? Or what up? What's going on? Like we'll say it like that, right? But if you go outside of Florida or you go outside of Miami or you go outside of Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, you say that, those are fighting words. Because why? We've been indoctrinated that another Black man makes me uneasy when he's just saying, hey, what's going on? How you doing? Those are fighting words to other people. We just can't fathom that thing like a term of endearment, but just because you said the word, it triggered you right then and there. Yeah. I'm all for it. I'm ready for the smoke. You try me, guess what? You're gonna cast these holy hands. For you repented out there. Or you try me in the world, my first reaction is not going like this. My first reaction is this. I'm hitting you with that quick jab and I'm backing away. What's good? Pulling up my pants. That's what we doing. And that's what's called anxiety, to where you look at each other as enemies. Go back to the article because there's so much to pull from it. No. Oh gosh, you shared my notes. Yeah, where do we get these people from? Come on, y'all. Like, what? Thank you. All right, come on.
Shy or inhibited temperament.
That goes into bashfulness. Like basically your mom told you that you wasn't ish, you was never gonna be nothing, or you need to lower your tone when you talking to me. Don't put that much bass in your voice, turn that down, do this and do that, to where you feel like you unwanted. So, or you don't want that much conflict within your life. You're the type of person that you want to live peaceful. And the way that you get peace is you don't interact with anybody. You don't talk to anybody. You don't do nothing to upset anybody. Right, Reed?
Certain medical conditions, including heart.
Jump down to the next one because this is the important thing. Because all of the, nope, go back up right there.
Yes, sir. Black Americans face several additional risk factors for anxiety, including racial trauma.
So on top of just regular stuff, on top of your just living environment. Oh yeah, by the way, we forgot, for black people it's extra special. Anxiety is extra special to y'all niggas. Here's how it's extra special. Read.
Exposure to racism and racist abuse.
Exposure to racism, meaning white people telling you that you ain't nothing. Stuff that we grew up with. We see the racism, right? Read.
The effects of racism, such as fewer opportunities.
You get fewer opportunities in what? Jobs. You get fewer opportunity in jobs. You get fewer opportunities in life just because of the color of your skin. Because why? Just as we have anxiety and we have been traumatized within the black community, that projects out to the other races, to where we have fewer opportunities and
less safe communities.
It's certain places within your particular state, wherever you live in, or your particular neighborhood, that you just don't turn down. You just don't turn down. You just don't drive into that particular neighborhood, because you know why? You're gonna get shot. It's niggas that's there. It's certain places that in Florida, that in Miami, that we're scared to ride. We're scared to ride by. The poking beans. If you don't know nobody in Florida or in Miami, you don't go there, because as soon as you pull up, you better make sure that that your windows is down, that your hands is on 10 and 2, because more than likely, if they don't recognize your car and it's your first time going there, and they look at you and they see a black man, oh, best believe they shooing you up. So you have to deal with that anxiety, and all of this, that what is summing up is just survival tactics. Anxiety is a survival tactic, and we have that lets you know that you're still a slave here in America too. Come on, read.
Higher rates of trauma, including sexual assault and police violence.
And this is what causes it: sexual assault, like you being sexually assaulted by your cousin, your uncle. We all have that weird family member that ain't right, and you probably have been touched, and you have never spoken on these things. You know why? Because you feel uncomfortable, and you feel like nobody's gonna listen to you, because they gonna think that you're making up a lie. Police violence, we see that all the time through the media. Us always getting shot down. Trayvon Martin, you having Skittles, you wearing a hoodie. Now we've been so traumatized, or we have such anxiety, to where you would then pass that anxiety on to your kids. How do you pass that anxiety on to your kids? The hoodie that you have on. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. No hoodies. Or if you're walking in the middle of the night, do not pull your hoodie up. You pull that hoodie down. Don't wear black in the middle of the night. Don't wear a hoodie at all. Wear something bright, something that's less threatening. Fidel Castile. We have so many numerous examples of how they put the knee on our neck for at least 8 minutes, saying that you can't breathe. That creates trauma. So that's the reason why when police pull up behind you, best believe your heart starts beating and it starts pounding, and you hoping to God that you're not one of them. You hoping to God that you don't make the news. You hoping to God that you just make it home safe. Whatever ticket that they give you, whether it's $500, I ain't got it, but as long as I get my life, I'm good. And that's how we feel. So now, so you could stop sharing that. Let's go to the different types of anxiety that we have. Yep. Go back to share. Yep. Click on that and then share the different types of anxiety that we have. The next article. Come on. Yep. I think is that it? Yeah. No. Go back. Yep. Share that. Yep. Let's read that.
Anxiety. What is it and how it affects the black community?
Scroll down. These are the types of anxiety disorders. So they generalized it, right? Read.
Types of anxiety disorders. Anxiety disorders affects more people than most know. In fact, someone you know could live with one and you may not realize it.
So that's why this class is called Undiagnosed Anxiety. Right? Read.
The reason for this is that there are many types of anxiety disorders, and each presents with different symptoms. Let's look at some of the more common types of anxiety disorders.
Come on.
Generalized anxiety disorder.
Generalized anxiety disorder is what we just explained. Like, you know, you feel unease and, you know, you don't feel safe. You think evil of your brother. Come on. Next one.
Separation anxiety disorder.
That goes into the younger children about, you know, sometimes, you know, how, you know, we say when you go to the market, if you ain't here when I leave, I'm leaving you behind. And with that, we don't realize we cause it trauma within our kids. And the minute they try you, they effed around and found out. And now they have separation anxiety disorder. Now they always tied to the hip of you. Or they sleeping in your bed early on. Like, you know how they sleep in your bed even until day 3, day 5, day 7. They still sleep in your bed. That's called separation. And then when you try to give them their own bed, they come back to your bed. Separation anxiety disorder. Now, how it manifests itself in the later stages in life is now, whether you have a daughter or a son, the way that they deal with that, they cope with that, they sleep with people. And they sleep with different types of people. It could put that spirit of whoremongering within them to where they hate sleeping alone at night. They gotta find somebody to sleep along with, or they very clingy to where it's unhealthy. They're very clingy. It's just like, you know, they can't get enough of you. They're always blowing up your phone like crazy. You know, you miss a call from them. It's like the end of the world. They go through the different stages of emotions. I'm worried about you. I hate you. F you. Lose my number. I love you. They're going through all the different type of stages like that, right? Read. The next one, social
anxiety disorder.
And that's majority of us. That's social anxiety of disorder. Read that. Many brush off.
And
we all, majority of us, we all have this. And I'm going to prove it to you. Come on.
Many brush off social anxiety disorder as shyness or a lack of confidence in public.
So now this is how we know that we have that social anxiety disorder. When you go through when you don't like talking to people, you just, you know, people, you know how people come to your house and you don't know them. Instead of you just being a social butterfly, you say, I don't know these niggas, I'm gonna just go into my room. I don't know these people, I'm just gonna go into my room. Or even when you get in an elevator with another person that looks just like you, instead of you saying hi, good morning, or hey, good afternoon, good day, how's everything? Everything is all right. All right, Tom. You get on your phone and you look straight down. You know what we be doing? We'll look straight down like this. Hold on. We'll look straight down like this, and then we won't be even doing anything. We'll just go like this and just pretend like we're typing it as something until he leaves and you can look back up. It's called social anxiety disorder. You don't like talking to people. You're shy. You're overly shy. Give me that in Sirach chapter 20, and let's read verse 8 to show what God calls that. And when you have that social anxiety disorder, it goes into a lack of self-esteem or shyness. And with that shyness, it can become a problem when you're overly when you're too shy. It can become a problem. God says for all women to be shamefaced. Yes, I understand, but to a certain extent, to where when you're shy, but when it comes down to these commandments of God, if somebody is breaking it, you better, hey sis, nah, what you doing ain't right. You gotta break out of that shy character. You better become the rebuker of 10,000. So that's what you got to be. Come on.
The book of Sirach, chapter 20 and verse 8. He that useth many words shall be abhorred. And he that taketh to himself authority therein shall be hated.
I don't think that it's in Sirach 20. I just quote, you find. Somebody help me.
Verse 7.
Thank you.
The book of Sirach, chapter 20 and verse 7.
What I'm dealing with, y'all. Come on.
A wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity. But a babbler and a fool will regard no time.
That's not the scripture. Come on, let me out. Like, you throwing me off. It says bashfulness. So 20 and 22. Come on, man.
The book of Sirach, chapter 20 and verse 22.
I need you to be here with me. Come on.
There is that destroyeth his own soul through bashfulness, and by accepting of persons overthroweth himself.
So you see what God says, when you have that social anxiety disorder, what's going to happen is that you could destroy your own soul. Because why? You're trying to be a yes man. You're trying to be a people pleaser. And with you being so shy, you can't speak up for yourself. You talk overly too much because you feel like you're in trouble, and that's all anxiety right there. When somebody's asking you a question, your first thing is, damn, I'm in trouble. So you start already processing it. Like, you know how somebody tells you, hey, we got to talk. Off top, anxiety kicks in right there. That's when anxiety kicks in right there. You start thinking about the worst possible thing. And when you start thinking about the worst possible thing, you're like, damn, I'm about to get in trouble. This is what's going to happen, X, Y, Z. Even though that talk could be something that's simple, it's possible. But in your mind, you just take it there. You put a spirit of worry on you. Go back to what we just had, the article. Come on, share it, present it. And post-traumatic stress disorder, that's post-traumatic slave disorder, that goes into it says a following traumatic event may experience range of emotions from guilt and anger, right? So these are the different forms. These are the different forms of anxiety. So now here's how Black people cope with anxiety. Pull up that next video. I don't know if it's there. Maybe you might have to pull it up. Yep, right there. Scroll up. Up. Yep, let's click on that. And remember to show the screen. I wish this was pulled up earlier. Come on, man. Pause. All right, so yeah. Let's share it. My bad, y'all. It's kind of like it throws off the flow of the class a little bit, but come on, share. All right, hit play.
It's a different approach, and I feel like it's important for me to say that because a lot of people feel how I feel. A lot of people do got to drink, smoke, take drugs, or any type of other substance to just get their mind off of the reality of what they're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And that's not healthy at all, you know. And people think it's normal. You would think it's normal, but mentally, like, that's a real mental health. Like, that's an issue. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem that we got to really address head on. You know, you got to deal with your problems head on. I don't think that's the way to do it. You know what I'm saying?
So how do you cope with that? Because, you know,
I just try to, even with making mistakes and people judge you, especially, I think me being an artist or just being an artist.
But you just see what he said. The way that he copes with it is the only way that you know how. Because now our fight is something that's spiritual. It's not something that's carnal. This mental health type of thing, you could stop sharing. This mental health thing that we're dealing with is something that's a physical problem, to where you need how could I say this? Where you need to smoke, you need to drink, like you need a physical solution for it. You don't need pills, because mental health starts with your mind, which starts with your spirit. Once you open up that Bible and you start seeing exactly what God says, you're going to be able to fix it. Now, if you're and I just want to say this as a disclaimer, if you are somebody that has severe schizophrenia, you're schizophrenic or whatever it may be, by all means stick with the pills. But all I'm just saying, for things like anxiety, within the vein of the class that we're talking about, this stuff, you could heal it. You could heal it by just opening up the scriptures and just applying the things that it says, because your mind is your worst. You are your worst enemy, because your mind is going to tell you things more than 7 watchmen. But when you have a healthy mind, you don't listen to yourself. You start keeping these commandments and you are following along with the instructions that God has given you. You're going to be all right. Go back up. And some of this we might not get through. All right, I'm going to skip that one. How do anxiety get passed from generation to generation? Give me that in Genesis chapter 3, and let's read verse 1. because this is how anxiety gets passed down from generation, because the Esau has taken it out of the playbook from the beginning, right? Come on, let's read that in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 1. Now, the serpent was more subtle than any beast.
The serpent goes into Esau. Come on.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Verse 2, and the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doeth know that in that day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods.
So you see what Satan did, what Satan did, and his descendants they did, which is Esau. He attacked the woman. He destroyed the nation through the woman. Why? Give me that in 1 Timothy chapter 2, and let's read verse 14. Because this is how he destroyed the woman. This is how he destroyed the nation. This is how he destroyed the future generations to come, to where we don't enjoy paradise anymore. Well, we got to suffer. Well, we got to deal with anxiety, right? Come on.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 14.
1 Timothy 2 and 14. Come on.
Yes. 1 Timothy 2 and verse 14. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
So one thing about it is it's a lot easier. What Satan did, he tricked the woman because he gave the woman the desire. So now how is he tricking her in today's time, in today's age? Oh, you could be a feminist. You could be just like a man. The same thing going back all the way back in the beginning. Give me that in 1 Peter chapter 3. Because Adam wasn't fooled. Here's why. 1 Peter 3 and 7.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 7.
Come on.
Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife, as unto the weaker vessel.
So she is the weaker vessel. So because she is the weaker vessel, that's the point that I'm going to attack. That's what Satan says. And with a woman, they know that she's the weaker vessel. And guess what they did? They are going to use that woman to destroy the sons. Because if there's no balance of the man that's there, women will destroy sons. And here's the proof. Let's go to that. Let's get the Willie Lynch letter. Let's get it. The Willie Lynch letter. I believe you just had it. Go back up. I believe it's the first one. Go back up. Up. Above the G Herbo one. Yep, right there. Click on that. Share.
Let's make a slave. The breaking process of the African woman. Then take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desire willingly.
So you see what it says? Take the female and run a series of tests on her. Because why would you make a guinea pig out of her? Because they know that she's the weaker vessel. She'll break a lot more easier compared to the man. Right, Reed?
Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any sign of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of B out of her.
To extract the last bit of B out of her. The good economics, what that's going into is future generations and better slaves. And how are we going to do it? We're going to use that woman as the focal point because she's the one that's teaching the sons, the next ones. But now if her mind ain't right, she's going to pass on that same trauma that I inflicted upon her to her sons, to her daughters. Right, Reed?
Take care not to kill her.
Don't kill her because she's very important to this enterprise because we could lose all our money here, Tom. We could lose all our money here, Bill. Read.
For in doing so, you spoil good economics.
You're going to mess up our money. You're going to don't kill her. You're going to mess up our money. Trust me, this is going to work. You just need to do different tests. You got to attack it from different angles. You need to break her down completely. Read.
When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age.
She will submit. She will complete. When in complete submission, she will train her offsprings in early years to submit to labor, and when they become of age, they're going to become good slaves. They're going to become broken. How I'm going to break them? I'm going to break them through the woman. I'm going to break them through the woman. Not only am I God, because we broke the commandments, God was going to put this curse upon us, and this is how it's going to get passed out from future generations through the woman. He gonna use them because you guys are the teachers of the next generation. That's why y'all jobs is so important. When we stay focused on these scriptures, when we stay focused on this Bible, and your mind is right, you're able to use what you have, the basics that you have, and you could create kings, you could create rulers, you could create great men, great women. But now if your minds ain't right, we're done for as a nation. And that's why the man has to get himself together first and teach y'all so your mind could be right. And then from y'all mind being right, then the next generation is right. Everything goes through order. Now give me the next one. Come on. Read.
Let's make a slave continually through the breaking of uncivilized savage niggas, by throwing the nigga female savage into a frozen psychological state of independence.
I don't need no man. I could do it all by myself. I could do bad all by myself. Black man has hurt me. That's anxiety. That's trauma right there. I don't want to date somebody within my own race. That's trauma. That's anxiety right there. I don't feel like, I should be able to submit under a man. That's anxiety right there. It's a form of it. Come on, read.
By killing the protective male image, by creating a submissive, dependent mind of the nigga male savage.
Meaning you make them mentally weak to where what makes us stronger as men is us going through challenges and we overcome those challenges. But now if you have if you have a single parent household and you have a son, and all it is that you're trying to protect them, you're trying to shield them from certain things, he won't be able to grow. That young man is not going to be able to grow. They're not going to be able to grow. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to be dependent. They're going to be strong off of emotions. I got to protect myself. I can't say this. I can't say that. I can't be as loud as I want to. I can't let anybody see me project my testosterone. I can't stand up for my people because my mom don't want me to die. I can't go to camp. Why I can't go to camp? My mom don't want me to. My mom don't want me to hit in the streets. Why don't my mom want me to hit the streets? Now you know why? Because it's that slave disorder, anxiety, fear. Read.
We have created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever, unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the positions of the female savages.
What's that phenomenon? That phenomenon is the Bible. That phenomenon is you being taught by the word of God. And that's what's going to go ahead and that's what's going to change our mentality. That's what's going to change us into who we are. This gets reinforced today in that state of dependency for the black man. It gets reinforced today through the woman. How does it get reinforced today through the woman? Whenever she sees the news, a black man is always dying. She gonna always tell him, "Hey, listen, be careful. I don't think that you should go out today. I don't think that you should go out to this particular." I know she's worried, but I'm just giving you guys an example. When the woman sees the man, getting shot down in the streets, it's certain things that she's gonna say out of fear and out of anxiety, because fear and anxiety, they go hand in hand. Worry and anxiety go hand in hand. so on and so forth. You could stop sharing that. Let's go to that video, the post-traumatic slave syndrome with Dr. DeGroote. Did we pull it up? I don't think you pulled it up. Let's pull it up now, and then we'll share it. All right, y'all. Y'all bear with me. Today's a slow class. A slow class. Go back up. Scroll down. Right there. Up. Click on that video. Yep. Click on that. Yep. Hit the arrow that's on the side. Yep. All right, now you can share it. You just close out of it. Come on, brother. See, this is what happens when we start late. You give me anxiety. Oh, you give me anxiety. All right, go back up. Pause. All right, so now let's share it. Come on, man. This is what happens when we start late. I don't know, man. Come on. All right, let's pull it up.
Post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Hey, go to the other cue.
That really looks
hover,
multi-generational
hover, and then go to the next one. Yeah, right there. Start right there.
As well, cultural. There's adaptive behaviors, survival behaviors. Well, what are they? Let's just say 2019, you have
anxiety is a survival
black mother
behavior.
And a white mother. The sons go to school together. They find themselves at a meeting. The black mother leans over to the white mother and says, I just wanted to mention to you that I noticed that your son is really doing quite well. And the white mother's response is, oh, thank you. She begins to go on and on about he won the science fair, his uncle's an astronaut. She's just oozing. She realizes the black mother's son is actually excelling her son. And she says, well, wait a minute. Your son's the one that's really coming along. And the black mother responds, oh my God, he's a handful, but oh, he just works my nerves. Now, when I'm working with African-American people, it doesn't matter what the audience is. It doesn't matter what class. If I were to ask, is she very proud while she's saying those denigrating things? And everybody laughs and goes, of course, there's a secret. Because everybody black knows that even though the black mother is going, oh my God, she's really proud. So now let's roll that scene back 300 years. Let's say this black mother is working in the fields and a white slave owner comes through and says, wow, that boy is really coming along. What is she gonna say? No, he's not. He's stupid. He's shiftless. He can't work because I don't want you to sell him. So I denigrate them to protect them.
Damn.
That is called appropriate adaptation when living in a hostile environment.
Stop.
The little white.
Stop. This is the point right there. The point of it is anxiety is a survival tactic. How is it a survival tactic? Because now, or the reason why your mother acted the way that she did is because she was trying to protect you. You just didn't understand the secret. Just like how when you doing good, she like, hey, man, that boy's a handful. He's a lot to work with. He's something else. He's always running around. He's always doing something. He's always XYZ or whatever it may be. All of that stuff is her with the generational trauma being passed down. All of that stuff is just her means of protecting. And we still do that in the truth today. I know, I understand we're projecting outside of this truth, but or this class seems like it's projecting outside of the truth, but truth, be honest, we still deal with that today, but you just don't catch yourself doing it, but you still do that today. You do that stuff with your kids. You feel uneasy around certain people that's within this truth because why they reminded you of somebody that's in the past that did something to you. All of this stuff is called anxiety. You still don't trust black men. You still don't trust leadership. You still holding on to that past trauma. You still holding on to that anxiety. Yeah, you could stop that. You still are holding on to that past anxiety because why? You have never put it away. And that lets us know that we're still slaves here in America. Give me that in Psalm chapter 119 and let's read verse 105. Because G Herbo says them because this is how he finds his comfort. This is how he deals with the trauma. But God is going to show you how you're supposed to deal with the trauma, how you're supposed to deal with the pain. Come on.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119 and verse 105. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path.
Psalm chapter 105 verse 50. I'm sorry. But it's like I got so much in my mind. It's like my mind is everywhere. Like I'm quoting the wrong scriptures, stuff like that. It's like I got so much in my mind.
The book of Psalms.
119 and 50. Man.
Psalms chapter 119 and verse 50. This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word hath quickened me.
So you see what God, what King David said. He says the thing that's going to comfort me throughout affliction is going to be God's word. So now this is what happens to us when we deal with trauma. Play the video about the pimp. Play the video about the pimp. Because this is what happens to us when we're traumatized. This is what happens when we have anxiety. Nope, I already pulled it up. Just all you got to do is share it. You're going to see him. Scroll down, scroll down. Yep, that's the first one. Come on, share that. Cause we don't have that much time. Come on, let's play this.
Yeah, man, we was gorilla pimping, man. You feel me? And bitch, you come up missing. You know what I'm saying? For a couple of days, a couple of weeks, whatever you want to call it. And she gonna come back correct. You know what I'm saying? We was dealing with dog kennels. We was dealing with cat food. We had a whole bunch of ways to get a bitch right. You feel me? Like, you can't walk our blades and you a renegade. You have to be paying somebody, bitch. You can't be out here selling pussy and you ain't paying nobody. You know what I'm saying? You can easily come up missing forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit real.
This is a threat that he said.
Like burning bitches with cigarette butts, putting cigarettes out on bitches.
Walk on our streets and make money without you having a pimp. What I'm going to do is, if I see you with you not having a pimp, I'm going to kidnap you and you're going to fall in line. You're going to be paying somebody. And that somebody is me. Come on, play.
All type of shit, man. Pouring bleach on bitches, making bitches bathe in bleach bath water, putting bitches in the shower, closing the door when them turning the hot water in, making them call you daddy while the hot water on. You feel me? And telling her like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, from now on, I'm daddy. That's what you call me. You know what I'm saying? While the hot water running on her and she's screaming and all that shit. You feel me? So you got to break their spirit. You feel me? Once their spirit is broke, then you capable of doing whatever with it. You know what I'm saying? That's real gorilla pimping. But it's levels to this shit. You feel me? That's beginner shit. After a while, when you make a name for yourself and all that, you ain't got to do that shit no more. But this shit real, man. I done did some shit to some bitches, man, for sure.
Y'all don't see that laugh that he has? That means at a certain point he enjoyed all of it. Like he says, eventually, once you get a name for yourself, and that's trauma being passed down, because what he's doing, he's creating anxiety amongst others, because what happened to him? He ended up feeling that same level of anxiety and hurt people. You guessed it, hurt people. And because he's hurt, he's going to take out that affliction on others. So now who was he hurt by? Go back to go to present. Yeah, let's show that. Yep, that it's not in there. Yeah, that's it right there. That it was a black screen. Yep, share that. Hit play. Now then.
Yeah, long story short, yeah, man, we was gorilla.
Stop sharing. Do the other one. It's gonna be a lot to. Oh my goodness! Today's class. Yeah, let's play that.
You feel me? I grew up without my dad around, so my uncles always play father. You know what I'm saying? So and they had a whole bunch going on. So, you know what I'm saying? My mom was a tough cookie too. So, you feel me? My mom was trying to be just like her brothers and shit. So it was always rough coming up. You know, my childhood was always rough.
Yeah. Any abuse, anything like that?
About beating people, beating women, and
my mom used to bring these, you know, these random guys in who she liked and things like that, you know, from different neighborhoods of Los Angeles, California, you know what I'm saying? Some was drug heads and things like that. So they used to put their hands on my mom, you know what I'm saying? This one guy broke my mom's jaw. So, you know what I'm saying? As a child coming up, I was always helping my mom fight these niggas off, you feel me? So that's where I had to be a man fast at a young age. So, you feel me? That's what led up to here right now.
Yeah. What did you read when you went on your own?
So you see what happened? Basically, long story short, if you watch the whole interview, he ended up getting kicked out by his mom. And he ended up adopting that behavior through the people that's around him. And that's where it goes back into where it says those conditions are learned, or those traumas are passed down through the mother, so on and so forth, because that stuff creates anxiety. Anxiety, give me the definition of anxiety. And because what anxiety is actually fear. Let's go over it, because we're almost there, Israel. We're almost done. Because it's a lot I'm gonna cut out from this class. Trust me. All right, let's share that. All right, what is anxiety? Definition.
Anxiety, a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome.
A feeling of worry. You're always worried. You're nervous. You're uneased about something, or imminent event, something that's going to happen. That stuff happens in your mind. So, like, you got a feeling that something bad is going to happen, but you don't know what it is. You can't put your finger on it. Even within this truth, it's certain places that you go to, somebody walks in there, you just don't feel right. You're always worrying about bills. You're always nervous when it comes to your job, wondering if you're about to get fired. Your spirit is not at rest. It's not like, you know, you're at rest. You have an uneasiness about yourself. Like, I don't want to be here for too long, because at any given moment in time, you know something is going to happen because of just how you was raised and the people that you was raised by. That's why some people that come into this building, they still have that level of anxiety. They don't communicate with anybody. They don't socialize with anybody. They'll get up and leave early because of some of the ways that they grew up. Some people are still self-medicating through drugs, like what you're doing. You're smoking weed. You're smoking cigarettes. You're doing PCP. You're doing cocaine. You're doing heroin. You're doing all these different things. Because why? There's a spirit of unease about yourself. Go back to the definition. Come on. Because this is important. Come on.
Anxiety, a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome.
Come on. Similar.
Worry. Concern, apprehension, apprehensiveness, consternation, unease, fearfulness, fear, disquietude, perturbation.
Stop. All these things that we're reading in the definitions, or we're reading similar words, those are spirits. You have a spirit of worry on you. Don't stop. You have a spirit of worry on you. You have a spirit of unease about yourself. You have a spirit of fear. You don't have peace, because that's what disquiet is. Meaning you're feeling nervous. All of these things are spirits, aka legions. That's what is attached to that spirit, and how it manifests itself. It manifests itself in different ways. You can stop sharing now, because here's the thing. I want y'all to write this down, right? Our anxiety doesn't come from thinking about the future, but anxiety comes from you controlling it. Anxiety comes from you overthinking, your situation, because you've been in the hood for so long. You grew up this way, to where you had to constantly think about what's the worst thing that's going to happen next. And after you constantly think about what's the worst thing that's going to happen next, it helped you survive. That's what anxiety is. But now, does God want you to have that spirit of fear? Because because these are the different spirits that come with anxiety. Anxiety, worry. You'll have worry, then you'll have stress, and then you'll have fear, and fear affects your faith. Give me that in Matthew chapter 6 and verse 25, all the way down to 34. All right, come on.
Yes, sir. The book of Matthew, chapter 26 and verse. Matthew chapter 6 and verse 25. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink.
Don't worry about tomorrow, what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, right? Read.
Nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat and the body than raiment? Behold, the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. Yet your heavenly Father feedeth them.
God is going to look out for everybody. He looks out for the creatures. He's going to look out for you, right? Read.
Are ye not much better than they? Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature?
You can't make yourself taller by you just thinking it. Read.
And why take ye thought for raiment?
If you can't control that, if you can't make yourself taller, ain't no point of you thinking about, all right, let me try to get some clothes. Where am I going to get my clothes from? Where am I going to get my food from? Because you don't do that. God does it for you. Read.
Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these.
Even King Solomon, he was not arrayed like one of these. Meaning the stuff that, he had on a bad garment. But when you look at the lilies and you look at the intricate details, all you see is colors. All you see is the color yellow. But when you go into a magnifying glass, or you go into a magnifying glass, or whatever they call it in science, where they look at stuff, you could see the complex colors that God has actually put within those lilies. King Solomon didn't look as good as them because God created diverse colors that we don't see. Read.
Verse 30. Wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you? Oh, ye of little faith.
So God says you are of little faith when you have that spirit of worry on you, because worry takes today's troubles and it takes tomorrow's peace. I'm going to say it again. Worry takes today's troubles and it takes tomorrow's peace. Give me that in Proverbs chapter 12 and let's read verse 25. Come on. We're almost done. Come on.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 25. Heaviness in the heart of man maketh to stoop, but a good word maketh it glad.
So we don't have to worry because God is going to give you the good word that you need. And this is the good word that you need. You need this class because when you worry always gives a small things, big shadows. We make small things big. Worry always gives small things, big shadows. You can make something as big as you want it to be, as long as in your mind. Because how is that being controlled? Give me that in 2 Timothy chapter 1, and let's read verse 7. Because we read all the definitions of anxiety, because it deals with worry, fear, and stress. And these are different spirits that comes with it when you have it. Come on.
The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 1 and verse 7. For God have not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
So I'm trying to understand, because God just said he didn't give you a spirit of fear. But God cursed us with the spirit of fear, right? Because this is all, when it ties into the class, it all goes into, God cursed us. Nah, God didn't give us a spirit of fear. We chose it. How did we choose it? Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. You don't have to get it. It shall come to pass if you didn't want to listen to God, that God was going to bring evil upon you, including mental sickness, including anxiety, including fear. We chose it. We willingly chose it. We willingly chose to go through the struggles. We willingly chose to go through the pain. We willingly chose to go through the suffering. We willingly chose it because we didn't want to listen to God. We didn't want to get our mind right. That's the reason why I started the class the way that I did. Give me that in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, and let's read verse 12. Come on.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon. The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17 and verse 12. For fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors which reason offers.
So you know what fear is? Fear, just simple as that. Fear is a lie that you tell to yourself. It's a lie that you tell to yourself. With enough trauma, you'll believe it. You'll make your worry, the things that you worry about, that's small, you'll make it into a big shadow. You'll make it bigger than what it is. Because why? It's in your mind. Because it's in your mind, you are right. So now I'm going to show you an example of what we tend to do. Give me that in Matthew chapter 14 and let's read verse 25.
The book of Matthew chapter 14 and verse 25.
Come on.
And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went into them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a spirit." And they cried out of fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, "Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid." And Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water." And he said, "Come."
So this is you having faith. You're Peter. You said, "Lord, I see what you did. I could do it too. I believe." Come on, read.
And he said, "Come." And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water.
He started walking on water. You started, coming to the truth. You started doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. You started overcoming everything. No matter what demons got cast down around you, right? Read.
He walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. Boisterous. He was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, saying, "Lord, save me."
Stop. So we came in this truth filled with faith. We started believing in God. We started following God and doing everything that he wanted us to do. But when you're walking with God, things is going to test you. The question is, are you going to sink? Are you going to go back into that spirit of anxiety? Are you going to go back to that spirit of fear? Because when you start being fearful, Satan will control you, because we tend to, one thing that we tend to fear man more than we fear God. We tend to fear what people think of us more than what God thinks of us, because he's not around. But we could see Raheem, we could see Azariah, we could see Lemuel, we could see Samuel, we could see Michael, we could see whoever. We could see all of them. We'll worry about man, but not God. Give me that in Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 25. We're almost done, Israel. I know I'm over my time.
The book of Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 25. The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe.
You see what anxiety is going to do? That anxiety is going to slow walk you down. Read that again.
Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 25. The fear of man bringeth a snare.
A fear of man, that anxiety is going to get you trapped up. Right, read.
But whoso putteth his trust in the Lord.
But now when you overcome that anxiety, what's going to happen?
Shall be safe.
You're going to be safe from what? Your own self. You're going to be safe from that nuclear destruction, because what does God want? Does God want you to have that spirit of fear? No, he doesn't. Give me that in Hebrews chapter 11 and let's read verse 6.
The book of Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please him.
Without faith, it is impossible to please him. Because why is it impossible to please him? Because God did not give you a spirit of fear. God, With fear is going to inhibit you from doing a lot of the things that God knows you that you could do. Fear will tell you you can't. God tells you, yes, I can. Give me that in John 4, and let's read verse 18. Come on.
The book of 1 John, chapter 4 and verse 18.
Come on.
Therefore is no fear in love. Excuse me.
Read it again.
Verse 18. There is no fear in love. But perfect love casteth out fear.
When we start keeping the commandments and we start doing everything the right way, God is going to remove that spirit of fear on you. Why? Go give me that in Isaiah chapter 41. In verse 10. Come on.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 41 and verse 10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am God. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee.
So God says he's going to strengthen us, and God says that he will help us. Because why does love cast out fear? Because you are walking with God. God is with you. So give me that in Philippians chapter 4, and let's read verse 6.
The book of Philippians,
chapter 4 and verse 6.
Yes, sir. Chapter 4 and verse 6. Be careful for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God.
The reason why God is with you, because he has given you the ability to make whatever you want come true. How? Through prayer. God says not to worry about anything, but you could pray to get that spirit removed. You could pray that God helps you out through those stressful situations. Now, when you pray, don't just think this is how God is going to do it. He's going to magically do it. Just take it off of me just like that. No, when you pray, he gives you exactly what you're asking for. So if you're praying to remove that anxiety, he's going to put you in certain conditions to where you have to apply the commandments to remove that anxiety, to remove that stress, to remove all of that from you, right? Give me that in Job 13 and verse 15.
The book of Job, chapter 13 and verse 15. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him, but I will maintain my own ways before him.
Even though God placed a curse on you, even though we willingly chose the curse, God says you better trust in him. You better follow his lead, because he's going to lead you through this. This is what God has promised, and God will always deliver. All right, give me that in 2 Ezra 14 and 34, last scripture, and we're going to wrap it up, okay?
Yes, sir. The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 14. And you said verse 34, right, sir?
Yeah.
2 Ezra, chapter 14 and verse 34. Therefore, if so be that ye will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive, and after death ye shall obtain mercy.
So you see what God says? We got to subdue our own understanding, because we are going to be kept alive. We're going to be healed only if your mind is stayed on him. All right, Israel, I appreciate y'all. All praise to the Most High. I hope you guys got something out of that class. There's more precepts that you could go into, but I just wanted to touch on how did the trauma start and how do we overcome it? We overcome it through the scriptures of God and what anxiety actually is. Anxiety is actually fear, worry, stress, and this is all the things that we deal with within our community, and we have to overcome it. All right. With that, I say shalom.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom. What is the nation?
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.